Alright guys, real quick, going to tell you one of the only things of importance that goes on within John Quincy Adams' administration, and that thing is called the Tariff of Abominations. Got a little picture of John Quincy from the movie Amistad right there, played by Anthony Hopkins. But anyway, going into John Quincy, just a quick little rundown on who he is real quick. He is actually the son of our second president, and one of the most unpopular ones at this point in time, John Adams. And if you don't remember, John Adams was incredibly unpopular because of the Alien and Sedition Acts, which of course protected us from aliens, French individuals that would have been coming into the United States that John Adams felt would have been a threat because we had that quasi-war going on with France. And also, a part of that was the Sedition Act, essentially saying that you could not criticize the government. You couldn't speak ill of it. And that was incredibly unpopular, violated the First Amendment rights of the American citizens and the press specifically. And so John Adams was not reelected for a second term because of these actions. And so let's talk about very briefly his son and his very brief presidency. So John Quincy right here. The corrupt deal, you've probably already watched the video we've talked about in class, the corrupt deal. That's scathing act that occurred that involved Henry Clay and John Quincy Adams essentially having a backroom deal to secure the presidency for John Quincy, him promising the Secretary of State position to Henry Clay so he eventually would become president once John Quincy had served what he thought would be both of his terms, but he only serves one. So his entire administration is plagued by citizens that are upset by the fact that he did this corrupt deal thing, this backroom deal, basically stole the presidency away from Andrew Jackson. So he's incredibly unpopular. And the man had a lot of good ideas. He wanted to create a national university. He wanted to promote the arts and the sciences within the United States. But because of the corrupt deal, he really doesn't get very much done. But there is one thing that he does get done, and that is called the Tariff of Abominations. So, the Tariff of Abominations is passed during John Quincy Adams' administration. And just to kind of show off how high that tariff was, here's just a breakdown of tariffs in the United States all the way up to, I believe the year is 2000 over here at the end of this graph. But this tariff is the highest tariff ever seen in U.S. history. And if you don't recall what a tariff is, that is a tax on an imported good. Typically, they put a tariff on an imported good with the intention of trying to make sure that people buy the American alternative to help American industry. And so I actually have here a breakdown of why it is he would even do this. Like, why John Quincy, you're already unpopular, why would you pass a tariff? Well, he actually had a really good reason for doing it, and that is to promote American industry. And there's two different perspectives on this. There's the northern perspective, which is very favorable towards this tariff. It makes foreign goods more expensive, and then people buy more U.S. goods, and then that helps northern industry. It makes the North more profitable. It's better for their businesses. They grow and they grow and they grow more because the foreign alternative is more expensive and people just keep buying American products. So the Northerners, they like the tariff. They really do. But on the opposite side of the fence, you have the Southern perspective. And Southerners are very upset by this. Why? Because, same reason, foreign goods get more expensive. So people have to buy more U.S. goods. But European countries retaliate because they're losing money. If people aren't buying foreign goods anymore, that hurts those foreign nations. So if you don't buy a British good, Great Britain's not getting that money anymore. If you don't buy a French good, the French aren't getting that money anymore. So European countries then retaliate by buying less American products. Specifically, they buy less Southern cotton. And that's why Southern farmers get so upset, because that is their main source of income in the 1820s, is growing that cash crop of cotton. So the economy of the southern states is really going to start to feel some of the pains of this tariff being passed because European countries are buying cotton less because this tariff has been passed. And also, they have to kind of make up for what the North isn't buying, because in order to make those European countries happy, the South continues to buy European goods. So not only is their economy hurting because Europe is then buying less Southern cotton, But also, on top of that, their economy is hurting because the South is now still purchasing those more expensive European goods. So this tariff is really, really very negative for the South and hits them in all sorts of ways. Really good for the North, very bad for the South. So this will lead during Andrew Jackson's administration into some conflict between South Carolina and the United States. But just know right now, the Tariff of Abominations is good for the North, helps Northern industry, but it's bad for the South because they have to pay that tariff because they're still buying foreign goods. So that's it for John Quincy Adams. He serves one term because of the corrupt deal and his unpopularity, and also the tariff makes him terribly unpopular as well. So he only serves one term, and then we're going to talk about Jackson's election in the next video.